Hello and welcome. Sometimes it really feels like the universe has a great sense of humor, and maybe, just maybe, a real love for mathematics. We're about to look at a perfect, and I mean perfect example of what I'm talking about. So here's the big question. What actually happens when we take a journey from a day that's completely soaked in ancient fear and step right into a day that celebrates a number that literally goes on forever? It's a pretty incredible transition. It's like we're moving from a story that we humans just made up to a story the universe itself is telling us. It's almost like a cosmic reset button, getting us away from our own anxieties and back to a fundamental truth. Yeah, we're looking at this amazing back-to-back deal. One day is a man-made fear, and the very next day is a universal mathematical fact. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate contrast between shadows and sunlight.
Okay, let's dive into this for a second. One day is all about this arbitrary, localized anxiety, a superstition, really. And the next, it's all about universal wonder, about something that's truly infinite. It's really the difference between hiding from the world and wanting to explore it.
So let's quickly talk about where we just came from. Because, to really appreciate the light, you gotta understand the shadow. What is the deal with Friday the 13th anyway? Well, this whole fear is basically just a weird mix of old stories. For centuries, the number 13 has been seen as unlucky. I mean, that's why some buildings don't even have a 13th floor. Then you mix that with Friday, which some old traditions thought was a bad day. But here's the most important part. It's all just folklore. It's a story we've been telling ourselves for generations, and it has absolutely, positively no basis in math or science. In fact, this fear is so well known it has its own, frankly ridiculous name, paraskevididecathophobia. It almost feels as irrational to say as the fear itself, right?
But now, okay, let's leave all that superstition behind. Let's step out of the shadows and into the sunlight. Because today, March 14th, is Pi Day. It's a day to celebrate one of the most important, most awe-inspiring numbers in the entire universe. Now, you probably remember this from school, but pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. And here's where the magic is. It doesn't matter how big or small the circle is, a planet, a pizza, a penny. That ratio is always the same. It starts with 3.14, and then it just keeps going and going and going forever with no pattern. Wild, right? And this isn't some old-timey superstition. No, Pi Day was officially recognized in the US back in 2009. But it feels like the universe gave it a thumbs up a long time before that. Because, and you can't make this up, one of the greatest minds in all of human history, Albert Einstein, was born on March 14th, 1879. Talk about a cosmic coincidence. But the real beauty of Pi, the reason we celebrate it, goes way beyond circles or a clever date on the calendar. So what is it about this number that's so special? Why does it get its own holiday? Well, for starters, it's an irrational number. That just means you can't write it as a simple fraction, and its digits never ever end or repeat. It's also something called transcendental, which is a fancy way of saying it comes from a place deeper than regular algebra. And maybe that's why it shows up everywhere. Seriously, from probability curves to Einstein's relativity, pi is like a secret ingredient woven into the fabric of reality. In fact, pi is a star player in what many, many mathematicians consider to be the single most beautiful equation ever discovered. This right here is Euler's identity, and this brilliantly illustrates just how fundamental pi is. In one clean, elegant statement, it connects the 5 most important constants in all of mathematics. You got E, I, our buddy pi, 1, and 0. It's like getting all the superheroes of math together in one perfect sentence. It's pure cosmic poetry. So when you put these 2 days right next to each other, Friday the 13th and Pi Day, the choice of what to focus on becomes, well, it becomes incredibly clear, doesn't it? I mean, look at this contrast. On one hand, you have superstition versus reason. You have folklore versus actual mathematical proof. A finite, completely made-up fear versus an infinite universal truth. It really is the difference between feeling dread and feeling pure delight. That's honestly the best way to describe this shift. It feels like you're leaving this murky, confusing fog of human anxiety and stepping right into the brilliant, clear light of how the universe actually works. So listen, this day is not just for mathematicians.
It's for all of us. It's an invitation to swap out fear for curiosity. So how can you, as students of the world, go out and embrace this infinite wonder today?
All right, here is your official Pi Day mission. First, and this is the best part, eat something circular. Pie, pizza, donuts, you name it. Then, give it a shot. Try to memorize the first few digits, 3.14159.265. You got this. But most importantly, just take a minute today to look for the circles and spirals that pi describes all around us.
You'll find its echo in the ripples spreading across a pond.
In the vast, silent orbits of the planets way up above us, you can find it in the perfect, incredible spiral of a sunflower's seeds. And believe it or not, you can even find it right there in the iris of your own eye. Pi is literally everywhere, connecting the biggest things in the cosmos to the smallest parts of us.
So in the end, the choice is pretty simple. Friday the 13th asks us to be afraid of the things we don't understand. But Pi Day, it invites us to marvel at them. It's a fantastic reminder that the endless mysteries of the universe aren't something we should dread, they're something we get to explore. So I'll leave you with this. Where will you find the infinite today?